Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Team Rocket. You may not know this yet, but you've actually joined us on a very special occasion. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being here for the last 2 years. It's been 2 years since we did our first tech update. So we're going to revisit the one that we did 2 years ago. It's actually still a good card, surprisingly. I think a lot has changed since April of 2010. But thanks for being subscribers. Those of you who've been here the whole time, if you're just joining us, you'll get to see the card that we did on our first tech update 2 years ago. So here it is. I'll get to that right now. Okay, so the card that we did 2 years ago was Neospatian Grand Mole. When we first did the tech update on Grand Mole, the big focus was stopping your opponent from using their flip effects. The format was a lot slower, and you had to stop those Rescue Cat decks or Plant or Beast decks or whatever from setting their hamsters and Gravekeeper Spies and just generating advantage off those. So if you get a monster or a beater out on the field to get damage in Grand Mole, you basically had a lock because those decks relied on hamsters and Gravekeeper Spies, things like that that had small attack and wouldn't be able to get over your beater. So you could just every turn summon Grand Mole, bounce their set card back to their hand, and then get in there with whatever you had, a Cyber Dragon or whatever. And that was the big threat at the time. Well, now the format is, and people say it's slowed down, or it's slowing down, but nobody sets. Unless it's a Spirit Reaper or maybe a Snowman Eater like Game 2, nobody's going to set anything. So did Grand Mole lose its playability? Maybe. But I mean, the other thing we talked about 2 years ago were synchros. Synchros were a new thing. We had Stardust Dragon, we had Blackwing Armor Master, and they were just tearing people up. There was no real good outs to them. Enter Grand Mole. So we used the Grand Mole to get in there. Stardust was gone, Armor Master was gone. At the time, there wasn't really an easy, quick, fast way to make those synchros. So people put a lot of effort into making those, and you just shit on them because you summon the Grand Mole and it's gone. And you still have your Grand Mole, they lost their synchro. Nobody synchros anymore either, no. So nobody sets and nobody synchro summons. So what are you really using the Grand Mole for? Well, let me tell you something. You're not going to main deck a Grand Mole. I think it's a bad call because you're going to run into Insectors and they don't care. Cool, Dragonfly to my hand. Next turn, summon. Shenanigans over again. And you're not really accomplishing a whole lot. However, you run into a Rabbit deck or a Wind-Up deck, anything that's going to exceed summon a lot, even Dark World, this isn't a bad card because you can summon it, bounce their Grapha back to their hand, and if they don't have another way to discard it, it gets stuck in their hand. So there are a lot of decks that this can be a really sneaky play on, and they're just not going to be ready for it. So has it lost some playability? Yeah, it has. It leaves you without field presence in a lot of cases, but it gets rid of those Exceed monsters. Especially as more Exceeds come out, this is going to become a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. But it's a side deck card at best, and I think it does have its place in the meta, especially if you're playing a more conservative anti-meta deck. It is a level 3, so you could kind of throw it into those wind-up decks, I guess, if you really wanted to, because you could Exceed with it, but you have better options in a lot of the Tier 1 decks. Like Rabbits, you're going to be summoning Tour Guides and Rabbits every turn anyway, so this just is a waste of your time. But in a mirror match or something, maybe you could see some play with the Grand Mole. And as an added bonus, it just got reprinted as a super. So if you like the Hollows but couldn't get your hands on an Ulti or a Hobby League, get one of those supers. These are cheap, and you can get in there with some Grand Mole. So once again, thanks guys for 2 great years. We're going to keep this going. We'll get you some more tech updates. We keep saying we're going to do them all the time, and then we do a couple, and then we stop for long gaps of time. I will try to get more up here. I'm not going to promise you guys one once a week or anything, but we'll try to do more, especially as cards catch our attention as the format starts to shift here. The new set coming out at the end of the month, beginning next month. And we'll get some more of these up there. But thanks again for subscribing. It's been 2 good years, and we will keep bringing you guys the deck profiles and the tech updates that you want to see. All right, thanks.